February 1st, 1914. Translation by Sri Aurobindo. I turn towards Thee, who art everywhere, and within all, and outside all, intimate essence of all, and remote from all, center of condensation for all energies, creator of conscious individualities. I turn towards Thee and salute Thee, O Liberator of the worlds, and, identified with Thy divine love, I contemplate the earth and its creatures, this mass of substance put into forms perpetually destroyed and renewed, this swarming mass of aggregates which are dissolved as soon as constituted, of beings who imagine that they are conscient and permanent individualities, and who are as ephemeral as a breath, always alike, or almost the same in their diversity, repeating indefinitely the same desires, the same tendencies, the same appetites, the same ignorant errors. But from time to time, Thy sublime light shines in a being and radiates through him over the world. And then a little wisdom, a little knowledge, a little disinterested faith, heroism and compassion penetrates men's hearts, transforms their minds, and sets free a few elements from that sorrowful and implacable wheel of existence to which their blind ignorance subjects them. But how much greater a splendor than all that we have gone before! How marvelous a glory and light would be needed to draw these beings out of the horrible aberration in which they are plunged by the life of cities and so-called civilizations. What a formidable and, at the same time, divinely sweet puissance would be needed to turn aside all these wills from the bitter struggle for their selfish, mean and foolish satisfactions, to snatch them from this vortex which hides death behind its treacherous glitter, and turn them towards Thy conquering harmony. O Lord, Eternal Master, enlighten us, guide our steps, show us the way towards the realization of Thy law, towards the accomplishment of Thy work. I adore Thee in silence and listen to Thee in a religious concentration. February 2nd, 1914. O Lord, I would like to be so ardent a love that all lonelinesses may be filled up by it, and all sorrows soothed. O Lord, I cry unto Thee, make me a burning brazier which consumes all suffering and transforms it into joyous light, irradiating the hearts of all. Grant my prayer. Transform me into a brazier of pure love and boundless compassion. February 5, 1914. What could be said that is not always the very same aspiration? The law of divine love, the purest expression of what we can conceive of Thee, must be realized more and more upon earth and triumph over all ignorant egoism. We must become more and more perfectly the faithful servitors of that power of love and light. We must live in it, by it. That alone must live and act in us. O Lord, become the sovereign master of our lives and dispel all the obscurities which can still prevent us from seeing Thee and constantly communing with Thee. Liberate us from all ignorance. Liberate us from ourselves, that we may open wide the doors of Thy glorious manifestation. February 7, 1914. For him who, by being integrally united with Thee, is constantly conscious of what expresses Thee most perfectly in action, considering the circumstances, no external rule is any longer necessary. The principles of life are in sum only makeshifts for diminishing as far as possible the ignorance of those who do not know Thee yet, and for counteracting somehow or other the moments of blindness and obscurity of those who have only an intermittent contact with Thee. To make rules for oneself and to make them as general, that is, as supple as possible, is good, but provided one considers them only as artificial lights which should not be used except when the full natural light of communion with Thee fails. Besides, a constant revision of these rules is imperative, for they can be only the expression of a present knowledge, and must necessarily gain by all growth and improvement of knowledge. That is why, when meditating upon the attitude one should have towards all those who come to us, in order not only to refrain from doing them any harm, but, above all, to strive to do them the utmost possible good, that is, to help them as best one can in making the supreme discovery, the discovery of Thee within them. I saw clearly that no rule was vast and supple enough to be perfectly adapted to Thy law, and that the only true solution was to be always in communion with Thee, so that it could be adapted perfectly to all the infinite variety of circumstances. February 8, 19:14. O Lord, sweet Master of love, Thou who bringest us out of the darkness to awaken us to consciousness, who deliverest us from suffering to make us commune within Thy eternal peace. Every morning my aspiration soars ardently towards Thee, and I implore that my being integrally awake to Thy knowledge may now live only by Thee, in Thee, for Thee. I implore that more and more perfectly identified with Thee, I may now be only Thyself, manifested in word and act. I implore that all those who come to us, all who are in contact with us, may awaken to the full knowledge of Thy divine presence, Thy sovereign law, and let themselves be definitively transformed by it. I implore that all men upon earth, in spite of their bitter suffering, may feel dawning in it the sublime consolation of Thy light and love, and the marvelous comfort of Thy peace. I implore that every substance impregnated more and more by Thy sovereign forces may put up an ever-diminishing resistance of blind ignorance against Thee, and that triumphing over all darkness, Thou mayest transfigure definitively and integrally this universe of strife and anguish into a universe of harmony and peace, so that Thy law may be fulfilled. February 9, 1914. Whatever names may be given to Thee, O Lord, by the elite of humanity, a thirst for something absolute, it seeks ardently for Thee. Even those who seem to move farthest away from Thee, even those who are exclusively occupied with themselves, are they not searching for an absolute insensation, an absolute insatisfaction, and in spite of its vanity, that search also can someday lead to Thee? Thou art far too much at the core, at the heart of all things, for even the very worst egoisms not to be transformed by Thee into aspirations. The only thing we must fear and avoid is the inertia of inconscience, of blind and heavy ignorance. That state lies at the very bottom of the infinite ladder that rises towards Thee. And all Thy effort consists in pulling matter out of this primeval darkness, so as to awaken it to consciousness. Even passion is preferable to inconscience. We must therefore go constantly forward to conquer that universal bedrock of inconscience, and through our own organism transform it gradually into luminous consciousness. O Lord, sweet Master of love, Thou whom I see so living, so conscious within all things, I adore Thee with a boundless devotion.